Hello everybody, welcome back to another video here on my channel. Also, welcome back to another monthly wrap up. We are going over March's TBR and also what books I did and did not read from March's TBR or just in general. Spoiler alert, it's not very many. So let's go ahead and go over my March's TBR, what books I did or did not read. This will just be yes or no's. First off, we have After by Anna Todd. I put this on my TBR so many times. I've tried reading it so many times. I'm now officially getting rid of it. I've seen it so many times sitting on my shelf. I don't think I'm going to read it anytime soon. I did not read this. I will not be reading it. I'm also de-hauling it, so. If the start of this already tells you how my month went, it's been good. Maybe Now by Colleen Hoover. I did read this. 28 Summers by Elin Hilderbrand. I somehow read this. I don't necessarily have all the physical books with me. I don't honestly feel like going to get them, even though it's just in the other room. But The Story by Bentley Little, I also did not read, but I'm not getting rid of that. Caraval, again, did not read. Beautiful Redemption, however, I did read. As well as Remember the Alamo to a point, I did start skimming it. And lastly, The Invisible Life of V.E. Schwab. I did not get to that book. I'm so sorry. Now that I already kind of spoiled which books I did and did not read, let me talk about each book that I read in order of which ones I read. And the reason I didn't get to a lot of the books that I actually said no to was because I was kind of in a slump. I hate to admit that because it was my last full month. This month we are leaving, we are moving in not even a whole 19 days anymore. We are counting down the time and this month is just going to be so hectic. So last month I feel kind of stupid that I wasted that whole month on a slump. At the end of last month's wrap up, I talked about how technically I had started 28 Summers by Elin Hilderbrand. I was hoping to be finished by this book around the 3rd. I didn't finish it till the 5th or the 6th. It took me a lot longer. It began like Hotel Nantucket where I was for once interested. I was kind of intrigued into the book. I was reading pretty quickly with it. It was like a 4-star feeling. I felt like it wasn't too high, like 5-star, definitely not. Her books are never 5-star for me, but it was pretty high up there. And then I kept reading and kept reading and kept reading. And it went from 4 stars down to 3 stars down to 2 stars. I ended up keeping this just at 2 stars. I feel like I've also read this book forever ago. I hardly remember too much about it. I remember some details and I'm sure if I sat here and tried to remember it, they would all start coming back. But to be honest, I'm getting rid of this book and I know that Elin Hilderbrand, she's a very touch and go author for me. I just don't like a lot of things. I know I complain about her a lot. I feel like if I have to read her, but I've thrifted so many of her books and I just want to try and read them. Since I spent, even if it's only $3, $5 max, I still want to read them since I spent money on them. So I picked this up. I did not enjoy this. I'm unhauling it. This is my 3rd book that I'm unhauling by her. I only have the Hotel Nantucket that I'm keeping and then I have 4 I think left that I have not read from her. Maybe the underrated books are more my favorite than her hyped up books. Maybe that's how it's gonna be. I did rate this, but I rated it 2 stars and I'm sadly getting rid of it. Might be in a future My Free Little Library video. I'm hoping to do that before we move. Moving on from 28 Summers, I wanted something that was kind of lighthearted, more so I just didn't care as much about. Maybe this was the wrong direction that I went in and this is why I went into a slump. I picked up Colleen Hoover's Maybe Now. I just wanted to complete this series. It was a fine read. It just wasn't my favorite. I rated it 3 stars. It took me like 4 days to read. It wasn't too long, but at the same time, I just wasn't as interested. The whole time while reading it, I was almost wondering, why was this book truly made? I kind of liked Maggie's point of view or like her life events, let's just say, that she was going through or having happen. But for the most part, I just was not that interested. I am keeping this because it matches the whole series and I didn't mind the first book and then the novella, besides a few things. If you've been already on my wrap-ups and stuff, you've probably already heard that. But one thing that I can't stand about this book, even though it is the exact same cover as the other 2 I have, it is this much shorter than the other ones. It is the tiniest bit shorter. So that's gonna be annoying when it comes to putting it all on my shelf. It was just one of these books that I was just kind of I wanted to pick it up because I thought it was going to be, and it was no brain power, but I thought it was going to pull me out of my slump from reading 28 Summers, and I think it just kind of helped put me into one. With that being said, I then read Remember the Alamo. I didn't end up rating this at all because of what it is. It's more of like that historical. The problem with this is it was one of those where I was kind of interested at first and then I slowly started losing interest, so I started skimming. This is the 2nd book this year I've done this with and 2nd history book I've done this, and it's just because I think I was already in a mood, a bad mood from reading, and I just picked up a book that you just need to pay a little bit more attention to, or because it's history, it's not going to be necessarily super exciting, and in other words, this might be a little anticlimactic, especially if you already know how it goes. So this wasn't necessarily bad because it did have photos in it and I kind of enjoyed some of the pictures. I sound like like a kid right now, but I kind of enjoyed some of the pictures. So I did enjoy this, but I'm not going to rate it just because of what it is. And I was also kind of skimming some of the last pages. It's been a rough month to say the least. And then for Beautiful Redemption, the book that it took me the longest to read. Despite that though, I ended up rating this 5 stars. I found a 5-star this month. I don't know how. I absolutely love this book. This was book 4 in the Beautiful Creature series. This is the final book for that specific series or side series, but I'm just going to read the first 4 books of this one series and be done pretty much with this whole entire world, everything like that. I enjoyed this. This was a great conclusion. In my opinion, I don't know how a lot of people talk about on Goodreads how much they didn't like this series or book or anything like that. There were 3 major parts in this book. So technically they called them books. So we have book 2 over here, which started with book 1. So its prologue starts with Lena, then we go to Ethan's point of view, and then we go to part 2 or book 2, which is Lena's, and then we go back to Ethan. The best way to describe this book is basically he is at the end of book 3. He continues in book 4. He's in a whole new world, a whole new dimension, however you want to look at it, and he's trying to get back home. So they're communicating even though they can't actually just physically communicate, and then it wraps up the whole entire series. I think that's all I'm going to say about that because that's all I really can say about it, and I don't want to spoil anything at all. This series was so much fun. I rated every single book, but this one 4 stars. This one, of course, since it was so different from the beginning ones because it had different parts, and then it was just kind of interesting the whole time, and I didn't mind the ending. Everything about it, I felt like I was very intrigued. I also was doing a walking challenge or a gym video that will be coming out soon because I haven't even started editing it yet, and I know that I've been trying to pre-film so far in advance since we were moving this month, so it might not even come out till May, to be honest. I picked this book up on the 15th, and it took me until the 30th, the last day, just yesterday, I finished it, and it was all because I was in that slump. So I picked it up. I think I read about 20 pages. I think I barely even got up to 60. I put it down for like 2 weeks. I did not touch it for a week or 2, and then all of a sudden I picked it back up for this gym video that I decided to do, and I got really into it. I got to a really climactic part, and because of that, it helped pull me out of my slump, especially with that gym video that I did. It was such a great idea. It pulled me out of my slump. I am so excited to read that right now. I'm currently tackling a 100-page book. It was just one of those feelings that I was so happy to finish it, so happy to read it. It was so different from the other books, and I absolutely loved it, and I can't recommend this series enough, especially because it is YA fantasy, so it's not too crazy, not too chaotic, but there is some challenging parts of it, and it's kind of like Harry Potter where there's like some highs and lows. I'm not saying Harry Potter because it's magical, because it is magical, but just for the aspects of highs and lows, Harry Potter is very popular. You might know already how the highs are and how the lows are, and I feel like that's kind of how this book is. Like I said, I couldn't recommend the series enough, so I'm very thankful that this one pulled me out of my slump. Those are the 4 books I read this month, the 4 ones that I ended up tackling. In total this month, because I only read 4 books, I only read a total of 1,455 pages, and I only had 1 5-star, but considering I had a no star rating, a 2-star, a 3-star, that 5-star really helped me out, especially because it was the end of the month. I'm hoping it's setting up for a really great month. Of course, without a doubt, my favorite book was Beautiful Redemption of this month. I'm so sorry. It's been a very, very high highs and very low lows month, because if you know me personally, you might know that we've had some lows when it comes to our house and the dually and some other things that have been going on in our life, and then we've had some high highs because of our dually getting ready to move, so many other things. So it has been a crazy month for us, and I think with me having a book slump, it was also because I'm just so ready to move, and I'm in that mindset of just moving, and I think it's really starting to eat away at me where I'm ready to go. At least I have 19 out of 20 books read. My goal was only 20 this year since I knew we were going to have a hectic year, and if I can finish one more book, which like I said, it's like 800 pages, if I can finish one more book before we go home, I will be so happy, so thankful. I know this might have been a terrible short video, but it's more realistic. I didn't have a great month, especially when it came to reading, so hopefully next month will be better. Only time will tell. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Hope to see y'all in another video here on my channel, and God bless.